The best of surprises for a very sick little girl who's a long way from home. This is Jasmine, 7 years old, intelligent, funny, full of life, until 6 months ago, when doctors discovered a rare and incurable brain tumour.
The doctor just told us straight. He said 90% of kids die within the first 9 months of diagnosis. I think it was just, and Mum and I just sat there and we just didn't know what to do. When nobody else is around, she's crying, why me? When am I going to go back to normal? What do you say? We can't promise her. You have to lie. And, yeah. It's probably one of the worst lies you have to tell your kids.
The only treatment offered on the NHS was a round of radiotherapy. So they came here, to the Netherlands.
Yeah, hi Jasmine, how are you doing?
First it was weekly, now monthly appointments for an experimental drugs trial that her parents pray will both improve and maybe extend her young life. Every month, Jasmine has to come to this hospital now to undergo a series of tests. They're checking her mobility, her brain function. And right now, she's in the MRI machine. They're looking to see if the tumour has spread at all through her brain or even into her spine. If the tests go well, she can continue on the trial.
It can be a big burden to have this treatment, but it's good to have hope, and at a minimum, we learn and we get to the next step. And hopefully for the individual patients, there will surely be patients that benefit for a long time, but there will also surely be patients who don't benefit at all.
Jasmine's mum and dad have fundraised close to £250,000 to pay for this treatment.
The whole process was incredibly stressful because you are ultimately looking for something that can try and save or prolong, your daughter's life. And, there were a couple of other places, there were a couple of other trials that we looked at that weren't accepting overseas patients. I want to know why that if we went to America, if they accepted overseas patients, that we could have it done over there, but why can't we have it done in the UK? And it's just incredibly frustrating.
The reason brain cancer patients like Jasmine and her family are travelling out to Europe, or some even further afield, to get on these vital trials is because there aren't enough options in the UK. A report by MPs earlier in the year blamed too much red tape, the lack of a database to collate the information, and crucially, a lack of funding into brain cancer research. Dad of 3, Mark Thompson, was told he wouldn't live past this summer, but after raising more than £100,000 for immunotherapy treatment in Germany, he's currently cancer-free.
Being away from the family was horrible. It was the first 10 days were terrible, and then the following month it'd be another 2 or 3 days. It was just the trying to plan the hotels, the flights, the car hire.
If you hadn't had access to that funding or access to this treatment, if you hadn't been able to get yourself out to Germany...
Where do you think I'd be?
Yeah.
Or where I don't really want to talk about that too much because it doesn't read good. If they gave me between 3 and 5 years to live with standard treatment, I'm now 2 weeks away from the 5-year marker.
Brain tumours kill more children and adults under the age of 40 than any other cancer. But since 2002, just 1% of the national spend on cancer research has gone to this disease. Out of £10 billion, that's just 126 million. 5 years ago, the government announced £40 million worth of funding for brain cancer research, but just 11.3 million of it has been allocated. Campaigners want more funding, but pharmaceutical companies also say there are barriers to operating here. Biodexa Pharma, based in Cardiff, is currently running 2 clinical trials for brain tumour treatment, but out in the US.
The main reason why we are not doing the studies in the UK is because of the regulatory timelines. Right now, MHRA is taking up to 6 months or half a year to approve a phase 1 study in oncology, which is, compared to 30 days with the FDA, is really not very beneficial for us. This also coupled with the consequences of Brexit do make the UK not a very attractive place to conduct clinical trials at the moment.
A spokesperson for the Department of Health says, "We've invested in every suitable research application made, and the funding will continue to be available for further studies to develop new treatments and therapies for brain tumours." For patients and their families, these trials can feel like a lifeline, but one that's hard to find, far away, and can be prohibitively expensive, while offering no guarantees beyond hope. Rachael Venables, Sky News.